Hello, welcome back to Hazel Jane Tarot. And today I'm doing a pick a card, pick a pile reading. So I'm filming this on the 4th of October 2020. And the intention of the reading is that it's for your week ahead. However, it is intended to be a timeless reading. So if you've stumbled across this video at another time, please go ahead, pick a pile, and my hope is that the reading will resonate for you whenever you are. So we've got 3 piles of cards here from the Dark Mansion Tarot, and we have one with a selenite crystal, one with a rose quartz crystal, and one with a labradorite crystal. So just take a deep breath and center yourself. Maybe have a think about the challenges that are facing you in the week ahead, or the things that are on your mind about this coming week and that you would like to have some guidance or answers for. And then have a look at the 3 crystals, the 3 piles of cards, and choose which one is speaking to you today. Okay, so I am going to attempt to remember this time. I forgot the last time I posted a video to put the timestamps for the 3 crystals and the 3 card piles in the description below. So if you didn't pick selenite, which is what I'm going to do first, you should be able to skip forward to your reading if you look in the description below. So we're going to start off with selenite. So we have your energy, the energy around you, and how best to navigate this energy. Now, what has happened here is that using the Dark Mansion Tarot, I picked 3 cards for the pile, and it's a kind of a sticky card stock, and I ended up with 5. So they split into 3 piles like this. So we have the Queen of Wands for your energy, but we also had stuck behind her 7 of Cups. We have the 2 of Pentacles for the energy around you, and for how best to navigate this energy, we have the 7 of Swords, but the 4 of Swords was hiding behind that. So when I was setting up for the video, that happened completely unintentionally, and I felt I would keep them in for your reading, that they were part of your message for today. So you're getting a 5-card reading instead of a 3-card reading. So your energy for the coming week, we've got the Queen of Wands, and this is a gorgeous Queen of Wands. Look at all the flames behind her. So your energy coming into this week, you're feeling very fired up. You are feeling confident. You are ready to take to the stage of your life, however that presents for you. So if you have something coming up this week where you need to make a presentation at work, or sort of be visible to other people in that way, you've got the energy for that this week. You're feeling really ready to be seen. You know, if you've got a first date coming up, you know, you've got the confidence to approach that. So you're feeling you've got that kind of fiery, confident self-assurance with you this week. However, behind that, we also have a certain amount of uncertainty and indecision with the 7 of Cups. There are a number of things being offered to you this week, and so maybe you're not entirely sure where to direct this energy. You've got, you've got that fire, that passion to get things moving in some way this week, but maybe you're not entirely sure where to direct that energy, and there are different things presenting to you, some of which will be genuine, good, productive places to put your energy, and some might be side roads, wastes of time, and sort of distractions, and you're finding it hard to choose what to focus this productive energy that you've got this week on. So the energy around you, we've got the 2 of Pentacles. So that suggests, that maybe feeds into this 7 of Cups mood, that you've got, that there is actually a lot on your plate at the moment. There's a lot of things that you might have to balance and juggle. And while the Two of Pentacles suggests that you're capable of, keeping more than one thing, more than one project going at the same time, there is certainly this sense of maybe pressure or expectation in the environment around you that you will step up and deal with multiple things and multiple challenges this week. And perhaps you may be being thrown slightly more balls than you can handle, in terms of, keeping all these different balls up in the air, metaphorically, and you're maybe having to choose to let whether to let some of those balls drop or not, like what to focus on. So if we come to how best to navigate all of this energy, we've got the Seven of Swords, which is an interesting card to get as an advice card, because the Seven of Swords does depict kind of deceptive, sneaky behavior where the character is making off with 5 swords. They're depicted on a rooftop at night with like a little disguise on, so they are maybe doing something dubious. But what's really strikes me in terms of the context of the rest of this reading is that 2 swords have been left behind. And when we can link that to the 7 cups that you're presented with in terms of your energy for the week ahead, and here we have the 7 swords, but 2 have been left, it does suggest that there are things that you are going to have to discard this week, that you really won't be able to do every single thing. You can't follow every single opportunity, even though your energy levels suggest that you could just do it all the things that you've been offered, all the opportunities or challenges you've been presented with. You maybe feel like you could do them all. This card is suggesting that maybe you can't do everything, and there is a temptation maybe to be deceptive. So perhaps you might just say yes to everyone but not actually follow through with everything. And so you've got maybe a bit of a decision to make in terms of your own moral code and how you want to approach all these different opportunities or challenges you're presented with this week. Can you weigh up what you can actually deal with? Can you be honest with the other parties involved as to whether this is something that you're going to be able to carry out or not? Because if you try to do everything, you might end up in a situation where you have to be somewhat dishonest, because you're not going to be able to do everything in the way that you initially maybe felt you could. And the sort of shadow hiding behind here, this Four of Swords. The Four of Swords is a card about sort of taking a break and rest, and maybe having got to a stage of feeling overwhelmed and needing to take some time out. It's sometimes associated with illness, and for me it very often comes back to things like, self-care activities like yoga, meditation, and even just simple things like going to bed and having a good rest. Now, there could be a little warning in this card coming as a sort of shadow behind the Seven of Swords, that if you do try to take on too much, you may find yourself becoming overwhelmed and maybe becoming your health maybe taking, or your energy levels taking a downward turn. So you're starting the week at a real high point in terms of confidence and energy and enthusiasm. But the warning here is that if you try to take on too much, you could end up finishing out the week feeling sort of weak and tired and overwhelmed and needing some proper rest and time out. So if you're able to look at the challenges that you have to juggle this week, and you're able to make a decision in advance about what is going to be manageable for you and what you're going to be able to cope with, then you should be able to reach the end of the week without kind of burning out. But if you try to take on too much, and more than you're able to handle, these brilliant energy levels and enthusiasm might get burnt out very quickly, and you might find that you're not able to follow through on everything. So some decisions to be made this week on where you invest your energy, and hopefully you'll be able to keep this wonderful Queen of Wands confidence and enthusiasm burning throughout the week and throughout the challenges that present, if you're able to make choices about where to focus your energy this week. Okay, so that is the reading for Selenite. So for those of you who chose Labradorite, we're going to look at your reading next. So once again, we're going to look at your energy, the energy around you, and how best to navigate these energies. And for your energy, we have the King of Pentacles. For the energy around you, we have the Five of Cups. And for how best to navigate this energy, we have the Strength card. Okay, so when we see a major arcana card like the Strength card, that maybe draws attention to some quite significant things happening for you this week in terms of your personal journey and sort of your personal development. So your energy this week, we have the King of Pentacles. So you are in quite a stable place this week. You're starting off this week feeling like you're maybe in control of your environment and your resources. So maybe your home life, your work life, things are feeling good, things are feeling managed, that you've got comfortable resources to draw upon in terms of maybe your earnings at work, or your the security of your home and that sort of thing. So you're feeling comfortable and stable and going into this week in quite a good place. So the energy around you, we've got the Five of Cups. So as you can see, the image communicates really clearly. The Five of Cups is a card of sort of emotional grief and sense of loss. So that suggests that in the energy, in the environment around you, you're having to deal with a certain amount of people or circumstances where there is struggle and difficulty emotionally. So it could be that perhaps someone in your family or someone in your workplace is going through a period of emotional difficulty, or it could be that something may happen that will affect you emotionally during this week as well. But as this is the energy around you, it tends to speak more to the way that the kind of mood in your environment, rather than an event happening to you necessarily specifically. So one thing that always is is depicted very often in this Five of Cups is we've got the spilled cups, which suggest something that has been lost and that is causing grief. But we also have two remaining upright cups, which suggests that all is not lost. So if this is an emotional challenge that has befallen you, or if it has happened to somebody in your world, so somebody in your life, in your home, in your friendship group, while that person is grieving and while there is cause to grieve, and the Five of Cups often speaks to the importance of creating space for grieving, all is not lost. And there is a time and a place, or there will be a time and a place, to draw your own or the person in question's attention to the things that remain and the reasons to move beyond the grief. So as you here are the King of Pentacles, that suggests to me that you're maybe providing a stable place or a stable container, or a kind of maybe you're providing the emotional space for someone else to express the grief, because you are in a kind of a stable, comfortable place as this week starts out. And that maybe means that someone who is struggling might feel that you are a stable person, or a good person to come to provide space for them and hold space for their grief and their struggle. So if that's the case, if you are holding space for someone else's emotional difficulty, you can you need to think about that balance, maybe between holding space for their grief and allowing them to feel legitimate grief for whatever it is that they've lost, but also when the time is ready, to draw their attention to the things that they still have in their life to be, to move forward with, and to see like sort of the hope of the sunrise in the distance, that things can get better. If it is yourself that is that goes through an emotional struggle this week, the same sort of thing would apply, but hopefully you would be able to find someone else to help you and hold space for you. Now, how to best navigate this week, the card drawn is Strength. So the Strength card can speak to two different kinds of strength, I find. One is the strength to face adversity, the strength to cope with challenges, and to face struggles. So this could be, the difficulty of providing support for someone else, for example, that you do have the strength to draw upon to do that. The Strength card can also speak to facing your own inner demons and sort of your inner struggles and shadows, and sort of making peace with that, not necessarily overcoming or conquering, but finding a kind of inner peace and balance with the more challenging aspects of the self. And it could be that for you, maybe it's not the easiest thing to hold space for someone else to be upset. Maybe you're the kind of person who very quickly just wants to breeze over it. It's okay, just look on the bright side, get on with things. You might be the kind of person who goes straight to looking at the two full cups and struggles to hold space and sit comfortably with other people's grief and sadness. And if that's the case, maybe there's something that in terms of your personal development that you're challenged with this week, to allow for that, to allow yourself to hold space for other people, to try to feel comfortable with those more negative emotions, whether it's within yourself or within somebody in your life. To find a way to sit with that and to be able to kind of deal with those more negative feelings without letting it overwhelm you, but being able to find a way to be supportive in that way. Maybe that is what this Strength card, in terms of overcoming an inner shadow or an inner challenge, that could be something that speaks to, because the King of Pentacles is maybe not the most emotional of figures in the tarot court. He's he or she, with this energy, speaks to a kind of stable, not rigid rules kind of based, but a kind of a comfortable, stable person or environment where there's maybe not a lot of room for a kind of big emotional drama, but that emotional drama is coming this week, and finding the space within yourself to cope with that and be, say, supportive of someone else who is going through that could be part of your inner challenge for development in the week ahead. Okay, so that's the reading for Labradorite. And now if we have a look at the cards for those who picked Rose Quartz, we have your energy, the energy around you, and how best to navigate that energy. So your energy is the Wheel of Fortune. The energy around you, we have the Nine of Swords. And how best to navigate that energy, we have the Ten of Pentacles. So the wheel, this reading really speaks to when I look at these cards, I think this reading would speak to many of us in 2020. Not just this week I'm filming this in October, but throughout this year so far, and maybe in some of the months ahead. And if you've selected these cards, you're maybe feeling particularly the ups and downs of the times that we're in at the moment. So the Wheel of Fortune for your energy at the moment. The Wheel of Fortune is quite a challenging card in the major arcana, because it is a card that speaks to a lack of agency. In the Wheel of Fortune, we're reminded of the ups and downs of life. What goes up must come down. Life can be going really well, and then something happens and life takes a turn, and things start to become challenging and difficult again. And even when we're in the darkest depths of struggle in our lives, the day eventually comes when the wheel starts to turn, and this too shall pass, and life moves forward, and eventually we start to experience better times again. And while sometimes there are things that we can do, of course, to help ourselves to move forward out of and through difficult times, sometimes these things are outside of our control. And the Wheel of Fortune speaks to that feeling of fate taking a hand and things maybe being outside of our own control. And coming to terms with that reality can be quite difficult. So if this is your energy this week, you're maybe feeling particularly the ups and downs of life, and maybe a lack of agency and a lack of control in your life. And we think about, at the time that I'm doing this reading in 2020 in October, we've been living through the uncertain times of the coronavirus pandemic now for many months, and there's no clear end in sight yet. The rules and laws that govern our day-to-day lives are changing frequently. And, the very reality that our governments can issue laws to stop us from leaving our homes, or can close our workplaces or businesses, that our governments can, mandate things that previously they wouldn't have, like things to do with, just personal freedom of choice in terms of where we go or what we do, or, these things we never used to have to think about. These things weren't outside of our control before, but now sometimes they are, as governments, try to find ways to deal with the pandemic. So these changing times can, make a person feel quite powerless and to have a sort of lack of agency. And so that suggests to me that the Wheel of Fortune coming up for your energy this week says to me that maybe you're just really feeling that this week. You're feeling that things are beyond your control, and you're trying to write it out as best you can. But that fact that you can't necessarily influence or change some of the outcomes that are happening around you is proving a challenge. Now, the reminder is, of course, the Wheel of Fortune, it doesn't just go down, like it can go up as well. Things can get better. But I guess it's the uncertainty of these times and the uncertainty that you're feeling right now is sort of where you're at. The Nine of Swords for your energy around you is really interesting, because the Nine of Swords energy around you could be feeding this feeling of uncertainty that you've got right now. The Nine of Swords, as this art speaks to so clearly, the Nine of Swords is the card of nightmares, of anxiety. And, while I want this reading to be timeless, again, it really speaks to the times that we're going through at the moment. There's a lot of anxiety out there, and that could be on social media, it could be in the news, it could be among your friends and family or your work colleagues. There's a lot of uncertainty about what's going to happen. There's a lot of speculation about when there will be another lockdown, or when lockdowns will be lifted, depending on where you're living, or, whether virus rates are increasing and how dangerous the virus is, and how, fears for your own personal health, or people around you might be fearful of their personal health. And lots of people are responding to the pandemic in different ways. Some people are finding their anxieties and fears are around some of the government measures that are being brought out, whereas other people want more government measures and are more fearful of the virus and the health implications of the virus. However your personal anxieties are manifesting, or the people around you, there's just lots of different versions of anxiety and fear around us. And even if you watch the news or listen to the news, what we hear is a lot of speculation, a lot of it's not necessarily just the concrete, for example, statistics about what's happening. There's also a lot of speculation about what might happen next, and people's discussion of whether this is a good step or a bad step. So whenever this reading finds you, if you've chosen these cards today, it seems that in the environment around you, you're encountering a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, a lot of discussion of fear and anxiety, and those ideas are just floating around you. And they are maybe adding to your sense of being out of control and of having a lack of agency in your own life. So how do we deal with that? You know, we've got the 10 of Pentacles is our advice for how to deal with that this week. So the 10 of Pentacles is a card that speaks to family, to multiple generations in a family, to stability, to legacy. And it seems to suggest that maybe for you to cope with these feelings this week and what's going swirling around you in terms of worries and anxieties, maybe yours and other people's, is to turn away from the big picture and maybe to turn towards the smaller picture of your home life. So wherever it is that you live, whether it is like this card depicts in a sort of multi-generational family unit, whether you live with family, whether you live with friends, whether you live with a partner, this card kind of advises to turn towards your immediate concerns as a way of managing these feelings of lack of agency and the anxieties that swirl around us in the big picture. So that could mean turning off the news, not listening to the news for a few days. It could mean taking a break from social media for a week, and focusing on the things that you can control, like taking care of your household, making sure that you have meals together or food on the table, or focusing on your job if you are employed right now, having the income to support your family, and giving those things your focus, the things that you do have agency over, the things that you can control, and the relationships that are closest to you, and giving those things your focus can mean that you are less overwhelmed by the anxieties and dramas and the lack of agency that we feel we have in the bigger picture. Okay, well, I hope that has been helpful. And if you would like to book a full reading with me, you can find me at hazeljanetarot.bigcartel.com. All right, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.